What is going on, guys? Welcome to another podcast. It is episode 223 of the Michael Lab Show. And yeah, we're here. Today's one of those days. It's a weird day. It's one of those days where I have it's not like a syndrome. I don't have it might be something. I don't really know exactly. But there's days where my sensories, like my especially like my touch sensory, is so overly activated, and those days are the worst. Like today's one of them. I put on a shirt and I just don't feel like I'm in it. You know, like I put it on and it felt too tight in certain areas. It felt sticky in some areas. It was showing too much of my collarbone. I didn't feel like I was the one wearing it. You know? And I'm feeling like that in this shirt too. Like I put this shirt on and I just feel like it's not me. You know, I feel like somebody else is wearing it. And it's just one of those days and like I'm sweating, even though I'm not doing anything. I'm just up here recording a podcast. It's just one of those days. I think a lot of it has to do with the weather. The weather is it's like rainy. We're getting the rain from Hurricane Ida. And it's just one of those days where you just don't want to do anything. You know, it's one of those days where you wake up and you roll over and you hit the alarm clock and it's just a little bit slower. You know, you're just not getting to it as fast as you normally do. And you're just like, I don't want to do it today. You know, I don't want to do it. And I'm adjusting, right? You know, I've been in school for about 2 days now. I have 2 classes today. So a lot of it has to do with that. I'm just adjusting to my new schedule. I love habit. Like I need a routine. And my routine really hasn't been there too much. You know, on Monday, my teacher canceled class. It might have happened live on the podcast. I'm not too sure. But, like, my first class got canceled, and that was upsetting because I was excited to just get started, establish a routine. Even if it's not the most optimal routine, it's at least a routine. You know, that's something that I find people who struggle, people who their life is kind of out of control for whatever reason, I think the first thing that you have to establish is a routine. And a routine that you can follow, a routine that you want to follow, a routine that's easy to follow, and one that allows you to, if you do the steps properly, you're progressing. You know, a lot of people have routines where they're just, you can make a routine where you're doing nothing. But like planning and following it is like by far the most important thing. And today's just one of those days where it's just, ugh, you know, it's just like, ugh, you just don't want to do anything, you know, and those days are important. You know, those days are the days that make you, appreciate the days where everything just seems like it's falling into pieces, falling into place. You know, it's, if you didn't have like the shitty days, those days that are slower than others, you wouldn't enjoy the other ones because you would have nothing to compare it to. And, I don't know. That's just me kind of complaining. And like this shirt, I like this shirt. I wear this shirt all the time, but it's like there's something about it today that just makes me go like, oh, I don't want to wear it. I just want to walk around completely butt-ass naked. I just want to record the podcast shirtless. Like I'm just so tired of, you know, it's one of those days. And then like I got to go to school, which is fine. But I'm pissed that I have to because it costs so much money to drive. Like it's crazy. I knew going into it, and part of me was kind of going to enjoy it, but Jesus Christ, dude, it's an hour to get to Towson, right? It's an hour, so it's 2 hours driving, 2 hours a day, 4 days a week. That's 8 hours every 3 weeks. That's a full day. You know, there's 15 weeks. That's 5 days of my life. I'm gonna be just driving behind a car, going to school. It's like, what the hell? It's my choice. I made that choice. I could have finished college a while ago, but I made a choice. I got to live with that choice. But at the same time, you know, you're like, what the hell? And it's expensive, dude. I fill up my car and I get about 600 miles to the tank, right? So I can drive 10 hours on a highway. So I get really good gas mileage. But like, you know, I'm knocking out 1/5 of my gas tank just going to school, you know? 1/5 of my gas tank is gone at the 288 a day. So 5 days of going back to school, I've used up a whole gas tank. It's like $40, a gas tank. $45. Let's just say $45. It's $45 every week and a half, week and a day. So it's like, I don't know. I'm just bitching and complaining. You guys probably don't want to hear me bitch and complain, but that's how we're doing it today. We're bitching and complaining, and it's going to be a bitching and complaining podcast. And if you don't want to listen to a bitching and complaining podcast, don't listen to this episode. It's like you don't have to. No one's forcing you to. Skip it. This is what it is. I was in class, and we still do this thing in college, which is mind blowing to me. I don't understand why we do this, but they do this greeting thing where you have to say one interesting fact about you. And I've done it before where I've said, "Oh, I have a podcast." But today I did it because it's so hard to figure out what's one interesting thing about you, or what's one thing that makes you stand out from the rest. And I said I had a podcast, right? And then the lady's like, "Oh, you have a podcast. What's your podcast on?" And I my dumbass goes like, "Oh, it's like a solo podcast. It just runs a gamut of anything that's going on in the news or anything like that." Right? So it's so people are going to be watching the podcast now from class, and I'm like, that's awkward, right? You don't want, I don't know. You want people to listen to it. It's weird. You want people to listen to your podcast, but you don't want to know who the people are listening to your podcast. Or you don't know exactly who they are. So it's almost like ignorance is bliss. If you don't know, it doesn't matter. You also don't know who's listening and who's listening to what episode and what did they hear about it, or stuff like that. It's just just me. I'm in my own head again. But and a lot of people in the class, it's an entrepreneur major. So a lot of the kids in the class, they all want to start businesses. A lot of them have started businesses in the past. My hair's pissing me off right now, dude. Everything's making me mad. God damn it, dude. Oh, my hair's sweating. I'm growing my hair out. It's getting long. It's at that awkward stage now where I'm starting to get angry with it. Gets in my face. It's wet. It's heavy. I sweat a lot more. I'm fat. I'm out of shape. I'm pissed. School's expensive. I don't want to do it, but I have to do it. So I got to get my degree so I can get a job, so I can get paid well, so I can invest and retire at 35. The more I get paid, the more I can invest. The more I invest, the sooner I can retire. So it's come on, Mike. Come on. Dividend stocks. You need to get 100K in Visa, 100K in Reality Income, 100K in Berkshire Hathaway, 100K in Apple. This is the goal. How do you get there? What's the fastest you can get $1 million portfolio, 50% S&P, 50% dividend? Come on, figure that out. That's the goal, man. That's the goal right there. To get $1 million investment portfolio, 500K for growth, S&P, not even growth, just growth, just S&P. Just S&P 500, QQQ. Get 500K in that, and get 500K in Reality Income. Get myself a dividend stock each month, right? Get paid each month. Use that as a check. Live off of that. That's the goal, man. Whatever can get me there. That's why when people ask me, what do you want to do after college? I'm like, I don't know. I want to make money. I want to make a decent amount of money, like my job, have work-life balance, and invest. If I make 100K a year, I want to only spend 30K and invest 70K. That's the goal, man. That's it. I've decided. That's what I want to do. I want to grow the podcast. I want to get a place to rent out. I want to get people on the podcast. I want to have fun. I want to enjoy my life. That's it. That's it. And college is the way I get there. Guess what? We're going to do college. I've had 4 interviews. I had one interview with this company, and great conversation. Went on for about 4 or 5 minutes. The college question came up. Told them I haven't graduated yet. I'm graduating in December. Basically hung up. Interview stopped. Well, when you graduate, then we could talk. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. I get it. I understand, but I can sell your mortgage without a college degree, bro. I can do that. I can sell your software, bro. Whatever. I don't know. I'm just bitching and complaining. Just angry. Just pissed, dude. I'm pissed about COVID. I'm pissed about Afghanistan. I'm pissed that people are saying dumb things. The main thing that's pissing me off is a sweat underneath my fucking chest. I'm also mad I didn't do like all my cardio. I should have done all of it. My dumbass, lazy ass got off after 10 minutes because I wanted to eat. Here's another thing. On Mondays, look at my hair. It's wild, dude. Oh my God. That looks horrible, dude. Is there a hat in here I can wear? There's got to be a hat in here somewhere. I'm examining. I'm looking around. Nothing. Nothing at all. Shit. Is it? God damn it. I'm sorry. I'm trying to stay on track. I'm trying not to worry about it, but it's bothering me like a motherfucker. I'm about to rage, dude. You guys are about to watch me rage. I'm so white. Holy shit. Okay. Let's get back on track. What was I complaining about? I was complaining. What was I saying? I was complaining about school. My table's sticky. But that's all I want to do. I just want to invest enough money so I can enjoy my life. You know, I was talking to my friend yesterday, and it's like, dude, that's the secret, bro. That's all you have to do. I had a professor yesterday on Tuesday, so 2 days ago, and he was like, all you guys are going to be millionaires. And everybody in the class was like, oh, you know, they were all shocked. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, I just learned like 2 years ago that to be a millionaire, you just have to invest your money and be smart with your expenses. But like to see a whole generation shocked, it was like, part of me was like, Jesus Christ, nobody is, like, this is an issue. No one has taught anybody about this. No one's taught anybody about buying assets that produce income for you. You know, nobody's taught you about saving your money, lowering your expenses. Like, nobody has shared this information with anybody. And it's like, and it was so cool that he was saying it, you know, a professor who's saying it. He was like, I'm not an academic, I'm a business person. That's what I do. You know, and everyone in here is going to be a millionaire. It's super simple, you know? Started talking about stocks and shit like that. He's a hedge fund manager, so he's like, you know, he's a stockbroker, right? He hedges his bets, he makes money off of the market, which is what I do. You know? Just I don't know. I know we all have these days, and it's like these days are, you know, they suck ass, but it's hard. You got to appreciate them as they're happening, but like you just don't want to. You know, you don't want to. See what's going on in the world. See what's happening. I just want to make fun of things. I wrote down some notes here. This is what I wrote down. Here we go. This is gonna get me in trouble. But whatever. What are you gonna do? It's America, bro. So I was watching the show. Taylor and I watched the show 90 Day Fiancé. And it's terrible. I can't say all that. You know, I was having this realization that Jesus is Donald Trump. What do I mean by that? Okay, so Jesus was a dude. You know, he was a dude, right? First of all, he was not a white dude. You know, he was not a white dude. He wasn't a black dude either. He was a Middle Eastern looking fella, right? Darker skin, Middle Eastern guy, probably black hair. You know, probably 5'9", 5'10", and he came around during a time where there was universal understanding that there was a universal understanding of the culture, right? People were okay with the culture. There might have been some people who were upset with the culture. There might have been some people who, you know, wish things changed, but they didn't really want it to change, right? They didn't really want it to change. By the way, I'm not a historian. I could be completely off. And if I'm offending a lot of people, I apologize, because the other half of the people I'm not offending are laughing. So that is who I'm catering to, because I like to laugh. And sometimes I laugh at really dark things. So Donald Trump, he comes in at this, or Jesus comes in at this time. And I'm not comparing them because like I'm a huge fan of Donald Trump. I'm not, like, you know, he's fine, I guess. I don't know. he goes about ways the wrong way, right? You know, he doesn't know when to stop talking. He's got a megaphone that doesn't shut off. And he's always going for the punch. You know, if Donald Trump came out today, you know, if he came out, said, hey, I'm a comedian. Everything I'm doing is a joke. It's a joke. It's all a joke. China is a joke. Everything about it's a joke. I think people would give him maybe the benefit of the doubt, but he's not. He was the president of the United States of America calling women horse faces. Calling coronavirus the kung flu. That was crazy. Hilarious, but crazy. Racist, but crazy. And funny. So Jesus comes around and he disrupts everything. This dude starts talking about his dad sent him here. His mom's a virgin but has a baby because he's the baby. Human dad does some like farming and shit. Takes care of sheep and goats, I guess. He was born poor, had nothing. But he had a personality. Jesus had a personality, right? He was vocal. He was loud. He was persuasive. He probably had beautiful flocks of hair. He probably had gorgeous hair, gorgeous wavy hair. You know, telling people his dad's God. His dad sent him here to change the world, to bring peace among us all, to ruffle the feathers of the current culture. So he starts. He looks for a few people. These few people, he's like, oh, these are my people. These are my people, and these are my people. They will ride with me forever. I don't know what accent that is. They will ride with me, and they'll write things down that I say, and they will agree with me. And if they don't agree with me, I will outcast them. I would get rid of them. I would develop these rules. These rules will be followed. And if these rules are not followed, you're in trouble. You're kicked out of our group. So he goes about his way, and he does it. He does it in a culty manner. He does it so well that the people start to hate him. People start to love him, but there's people that start to hate him. He eventually is crucified. He's killed. He's hung on a cross to die in front of the world. But before that moment, he was a leader. He was loud. He was audacious. And he spoke. He spoke well. He spoke clearly. People followed him. They wrote books about him. Because he was that much of a disruptor. He disrupted the norm. He disrupted the daily routines. He disrupted the culture. He changed the culture forever as we will ever know. Pre-Jesus was a different world than post-Jesus. 2016. This loud, ludicrous, billionaire real estate agent marries a Russian, has ex-wives, has multiple kids, has never been one to hold his tongue back, owns gold buildings, loud as hell. People love him, right? People love Donald Trump. Pre-President Trump, he was loved by everybody. Rappers loved him. He was he was the person that people looked up to. One of his books was the greatest books of all, how to close a deal, or how to make the deal, or how to win at the deal, the art of a deal, whatever it is. It was popular. People loved it. They probably talked about it in school. But then he changes. He goes from being a Democrat, much more democratic person than he ever was. But he notices that there's a possibility to be president of the United States of America. And his ego could not let him say no. He had to be the guy. He wanted change. He wanted to make America great again. So he comes in. He's loud. He's aggressive. He looks for his people. The people are attracted to him. The people who he doesn't like, he makes fun of. He outcasts. If you don't do what he says, he doesn't like you. And eventually people follow. And people follow so much to the point that in 2016, he beat Hillary Clinton, who was the perfect candidate in a lot of people's eyes. In my eyes, absolutely not. But in a lot of people's eyes, she was the clear winner. He was the underdog. People thought it was going to be a blowout. People were confused that he was even doing it. They didn't really know what was going on. It was like when Floyd May or like Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson punches you. If you don't get knocked out the first time, you're dizzy. Like, what the hell is going on? But then you get punched again. And that's what he did. He made people dizzy, and then he followed with a right hook, and then he was a president of the United States of America. He changed the way the world was forever. You know? The world after Donald Trump would never be the world before Donald Trump. Good or bad? I don't know. Bad or good? Who knows? You know, we're tricked with that. We're quick with that impeach finger now. You know, there's words going on. Oh, we got to impeach Biden now. Well, I would kind of agree with that. You know, the culture has been changed forever. The they and them is so much different. The you versus me is so much different. Similarities are not looked upon. We look for differences. Whereas we used to look for similarities. The words that you don't speak about money, religion, and politics at a dinner table have been completely broken. Now that's all we talk about. The world has changed forever since Donald Trump came in the same way where Jesus became and did his thing and led his cult. You know? It's just, I don't know. It's comedy, right? I'm joking in a lot of ways, but at the same time, I'm not. Like, that's true. Those are very similar comparisons. Everyone hates me for saying that. But it's true, man. They're similar in a lot of ways. They're similar. And it's like, I don't think you can look past that. I think the culture we live in is here to stay. I don't think it's changing. I think people are gonna constantly be saying things without knowing what they're saying, and that's the world we live in, dude. I thought that was funny. I was also watching the Paralympics, and dude, the swimming was so. I don't know how it works exactly. I was looking up what it takes to be part of the Paralympics. It might be sport by sport. And they might put you in different categories. I don't know exactly how it works, but you can be autistic and be in the Paralympics. I always thought, and this is me just being ignorant, I always thought the Paralympics were for people who are missing a limb. I didn't know it was people who had autism, Down syndrome, blind, obviously. I didn't know it included all that. And I still don't know if that... Like, if you're missing limbs, like in basketball, per se, you have to be missing, or you have to have the inability to use your lower body, right? Or have one leg, right? Because you can't put somebody in there who is high-functioning autistic, who has both their legs, facing all these people who are on wheelchairs, because it would just be an unfair advantage. So I don't know how that works exactly. But I was watching the Paralympics last week. It's also weird how much attention the Paralympics is not getting. It's on NBC, right? It's on year-round, or it's on all day. And I watch it every once in a while. I watch swimming. I've watched basketball. I've watched shot put. What else have I watched? I think I watched rowing. No, I don't think I watched rowing. I saw a little bit of track. The guy was blind, so they wrapped his eyeballs up, which I don't know exactly why they do that. I don't know why they cover up blind people's eyes. Anyways, I'm so dumb. Let me look that up. I don't want to sound that dumb. Why do blind people... Oh. Well, the reason why they wear glasses is so they don't burn their retinas. Because if you can't see, vulnerable to UV... Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Because they can't see anything, so their eyes will still open. And they're just going to get trounced with UV light and hurt their retinas. I'm so dumb. I always thought it was because... This is so dumb. God, I sound so stupid. I always thought it was because their eyes are constantly open, and it was like people felt uncomfortable with it, so they asked them to put glasses on. That sounds terrible, but that's what I thought. I'm so stupid. Yeah, but I was watching swimming. It was so cool. I thought one of them was blind, but I think all of them were blind, or at least visually impaired. Because when they're swimming, they are it's a regular swim pool, right? Their times aren't nearly as good, and the reason why is because when they're swimming, they're blind, so they're kind of zigzag. So they use those railings, they use those plastic spiral things that go up the pools, those guards, as visual guides. If they touch them, then they know they're too far to the right, and then they guide back over. I thought that was so cool to watch. And like some of them, like the best swimmers aren't zigzagging that much, but the ones who are doing the worst are zigzagging too much, you know? So it's fascinating. Like instead of how fast can you swim a straight line in Paralympic swimming, it's how fast can you, how much can you keep your zigzagging to a minimum? Or if you zigzag, how fast can you get it back on track? I thought that was fascinating. It's a completely different game. And another thing that was really cool is like, well, how do you know when you need a flip, right? You wouldn't know when you need a flip because when they, when you get down to the other side of the pool, they do they spin over and then they kick off and then they go the other way. Well, what they were doing in the Paralympic swimming, which I thought was like amazing. I was like, holy crap, these people are so talented. Somebody's out of the pool on the shore and like has this big ass cane, kind of like when you see visually impaired people using them to like get around like that. By the way, I saw someone who's visually impaired doing that, and they were doing it to walk through the hallways. And like I know that's something like you become used to that, right? If you're visually impaired or you're blind and you can't really see anything ever, I know you kind of get used to it. But it's like I don't know, like it seems like a brave thing. I know it's just survive. I know that's what they do just to walk, and it's like me just walking. But it is impressive how they do that. Like how do you? They're just like I've never thought about it. Like being blind is crazy. Like you don't everything you're creating is off of shape and feel, and you're filling in color. Like I don't even know like if you have the same feeling for colors. Like the way that you look at colors or what people describe to you, the colors feel, right? So your colors, the way you see colors is through feelings. And that's so fascinating. Like a beautiful sunset. Well, somebody has to explain that really well to somebody who is blind, but you can't fill in the colors. Like you can't fill in the color, like red. Well, how do you explain red to somebody who's blind? I don't think you do. I don't think they look at color as like the way it looks, but the way it feels. I think, like it's a beautiful sunset. It's soft. It's bright. It's looks like water paint. Like it looks like paint with splashes of water on it, and it makes me feel good. It makes me feel good inside when I see it. And I think they translate that into what would be red and orange, maybe. I don't know. Like I don't know. That's so fascinating to me, though. Like how they get through the day. But the thing that was really cool to watch with these I can't believe I compared Trump to Jesus or Jesus to Trump. Jesus Christ, that one's gonna come up at family gatherings. They always come up at family gatherings. There's always an episode that I have a family member go like, I like that episode. And then I'm like, oh crap, what did I say? Like, Jesus, Mike, you talk too much. You talk 90 minutes a week is too much talking for you. You need to cut it back, bro. I find myself in that situation a lot. Especially when it like comes to school. Like I haven't ran into that situation yet, but the more and more the podcast gets bigger and the more people listen to it, the more and more I'm going to have to deal with that, which isn't a bad thing. Most people don't talk to me about it, though. I've had a few people talk to me about it, but not. And plus, nobody gets mad because I don't say anything hurtful. It's all just funny and it's all a joke, and we're just here for a silly goose time. We just hang out. As Chris D'Elia says, we're just here to go medium or go home. But they have these long ass poles that like blind people use to walk, so they don't run into things and run into cars and get hit, or run into walls and shit like that. But they're creating all these shapes. I can see a chair, and I know what the chair looks like because my eyes are translating the shape, and I'm putting it together, and I see where the matter hits the space. I'm like, oh, that's the boundary. The edge of the chair is where the matter stops, and the space begins. So that's a shape. And I know that shape, so I know what it looks like because I can see it, and I've seen it before. But how do they do it? They take the cane and they feel everything? Like, do they have more sense? They probably have much sensitive feels. What, how do blind people interpret color? Okay. Though blind people lack the sensory experience of color, they can nonetheless, thanks to language from rich and accurate color concepts, Karamazov notes. Oh, that must be a doctor. Earlier work has shown, for example, that they know that orange is more similar to yellow and red than to green and blue. Okay. That makes sense. This is from Harvard. The Harvard education. What's that word? I'm looking for that word. I gotta look for it. A new Harvard study. Okay. So, okay. The Daniel and Amy Starch professor of psychology is the co-author with postdoctoral fellow Ella Stream Amit and Miss Wang and Yanchayo Bai from Beijing Normal University. A new study suggests that although they experience them differently, the sighted and the blind are still able to share a common understanding of abstract visual phenomenon like rainbows and colors. Huh. So with no way to directly experience what something like quarks actually are, people lean heavily on language to understand or describe them using words like strange, charm, to describe flavors. That's so fascinating. What do blind people see? Do blind people see anything? So someone with tritanopia. Oh, that's fascinating. There's this thing called synesthesia, which is so fascinating. Synesthesia. Synesthesia is a neurological condition in which information meant to stimulate one of your senses stimulates several of your senses. People who have synesthesia are called synesthesis. Synesthesis can often see music as colors when they hear it and taste textures like round or pointy when they eat food. Now I have that. I do that with a lot of not a lot of things, but the sound one. I think this is more common when people hear something. I can feel it, right? Like a big example, the one that I cannot stand at all is the one when people do the thing where they rub down their fingernails because they want to shrink them or what. I don't even know why you would want to do that, but they take their fingernails and they shrink those stupid things down, and it's a sound, right? Maybe this isn't synesthesia because I'm relating to it, but I translate the sound into a feeling, and then I feel the sound. It's like when someone talks about getting hit in the balls, you can feel it. You can, like, as a guy, you can feel it in your balls. You're like, oh, that hurt, really bad. Or like when people would talk about, here's one that's a little bit different. When I see people eating mayonnaise, I can feel it. I can feel the touch of slimy mayo, and it feels disgusting. And I can hear it. Like I don't hear it, someone eating it, but I know what the sound sounds like, and it drives me crazy. And like another thing that I do, I sound so autistic, but another thing that I do is whenever I'm overly stimulated, like visually, which is like common, like at work, if there's a lot of people going by and there's just a lot of things to see, people running on treadmills, people doing this, people doing that, people drinking water, whatever it is, people walking in, walking out, waving, whatever. I like to take my thumb and I snap my ears like this. So like you see me a lot like out in public and I'll go like this. And sometimes it's conscious. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I need something. And I go like that. But sometimes I have no idea what I'm doing. And I'm just sitting here like this. And the reason why I do that is because it distracts me from my vision, and it helps me a lot. Like whenever I read, that's why I like to like listen to like thunder music like that whenever I read, because it allows me to read a lot better. Whenever I'm out in public, I like to usually have headphones in. I'm very aware of my surroundings, but I need to drown out the chaos. Like my girl and I were at a family gathering this past Saturday, and this one specifically, there was a lot of people inside, so there's a lot of different conversations happening. And this one specifically was very overwhelming, not because of what people were talking about, just because the amount of conversations that was going on. And both of her and I had to like escape because it was so loud. It was overwhelming. Like you could feel your blood. Like the same way when you get scared, we were having the same neurobiology responses to it. Blood pressure was probably higher. Heart was racing a little bit more. Blood vessels were probably dilating a little bit more, just because it felt like a stressful situation. So I always think that was cool. But anyways, what they would do, let's stay on track. What they would do is they would take their big ass poles, they're seeing things for blind people, and as the person's swimming, and they're about 15 feet from the thing, 20 feet, whatever you need to flip around. Probably not that much, probably like 10 feet, maybe 6 feet. I know they like to keep it to a minimum, but if you're blind, they got to do a little bit longer, because what they do is they take the thing, and they don't hit them, like they don't whip them, but they just tap their feet or their butt, and then they know to flip around. And then they flip around, they push off again. And then when they get to the other side, they smack them again, and then they flip around, they fly back to the other side. It was so cool to watch. I'm like, oh, this is so neat. It's like an underworld that you don't even know about. Like, people with missing limbs and people who are mentally handicapped, and like, I don't know, you gotta adapt. It was so cool to watch the swimming thing. I don't know. I thought that was neat. I thought that was cool. You should watch them though. They're fun to watch. They really are. They're fun to watch. And you just get this idea like they work harder than people who have all the limbs. Some people have been like devastated, like they've had serious accidents. Some people have been born without limbs, so it's like a different mindset, I think. I don't know. I have all my limbs, so I'm very lucky for that. So I don't really know. I don't really know what I'm talking about. Someone basically was stalking and killed my baby. Family slain. Instagram model speak. Police say Instagram influencer Miss Mercedes Moore was killed in a suspected murder-suicide. This is like an issue that I think people need to, we live in a day and age where we have social media. One day you post your Snapchat story, and let's say you're a dumbass and you don't turn your location off. Well, okay, that's dangerous. But even if you do turn your location off, people know where you are, especially if you're a young girl out there. Like, I constantly am surprised by the underestimation that people give to people. I assume people are evil, right? Like, I assume people are bad people until I feel comfortable around them, or until they prove to me that they're not. That's my disposition to the world. I don't know why. I don't know if I was hurt. I don't know what it is, but that's how I survive. And I don't know if that's a guy thing or if that's a girl thing. I don't know if that's just a me thing. But whenever I'm out in the world, I assume people want to hurt me, and I assume people don't like me until they do. And then I feel comfortable. And when you're somebody who is a social media star, and you're an attractive person, guy or girl, and you're posting these pictures on Instagram of where you are, then you're tweeting, and then you're on Snapchat, and then you're on TikTok, and you're on YouTube, people can track down where you are, and this stuff does happen. There's guys out there who don't even want to be with you. They just want to kill you, and like that's the sad truth of it. We live in a world where men are always dangerous, right? Especially weak men. Weak men are the dangerous one. Like, these guys who are killing and murdering these people, they're weak men, they're broken men. I'm not giving them an excuse. That's just what they are. A strong guy, a guy who's mentally strong, won't do that. But I've seen that one too many times. Like, you got to be very careful with that. You got to be very careful with that. It's sad. Tyron Woodley quadruples biggest UFC salary with multi-million-dollar purse. They kill it, man. The Paul twins they're saving fights. They're saving sports, for combat fighting. I think the UFC is fine. The UFC kills it, but like the fact that he quadrupled his biggest payout ever is such a black eye to the UFC. I think, or maybe Dana White doesn't care. He's like, yeah, that's not what we do here. We provide you a platform, and then you can build off that platform. Like Conor McGregor built off that platform. Khabib Nurmagomedov, whatever his name is. He built a platform. John Jones built a platform. Francis Ngannou built a platform. Got subscriptions, or got with like companies that pay him. I just think it's, I don't know. Get your money. More people watch things, and that's how you make money. And when you're Jake Paul and Logan Paul, everybody watches you, and everybody wants to see what you do at all times. So you can can make as much money as you want. So that's that. Oh, that's awesome. Texas school system closes after 2 teachers die of COVID. Texas school district temporarily closed after 2 teachers die of COVID. Jesus Christ, dude. God, it's crazy, man. This COVID shit, like, apparently, like, we're not looking into, like, the where it came from, which is mind-blowing to me. Social Security is running out in a year. It's like, or by 2034, a year earlier than expected due to the pandemic. Like, if you think so, if you right now are 20 to 40, and you think Social Security is going to be there when you get older, jump off a cliff, because it's not going to be there. You got to be investing and buying assets. So that's that. Pope inadvertently quotes Putin to chide West Afghan war. Good job, dude. That's who you should be quoting. Vladimir Putin, the head of communist Russia. Beautiful. Way to go, dude. Way to go. Also, while you're upset that you did that, also look into your organization for having a priest that rape little boys on a consistent basis. Let me type in right now, Catholic priest. Here we go. Let's see what's going on. 14 disabled children. Nope, okay. That's a good thing. Catholic officials on edge after reports of priest using Grindr. There's nothing wrong with that, dude. Do your thing, bro. Here you go. Top official with U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops resigns amid misconduct allegations. That's a good one. What else? That's so funny, using Grindr. That's so funny, dude. But yeah, it happens way too often. Catholic priest charged with rape still going to trial October 5th. Way to go, dude. Way to represent that cult really well. I go in on the church because I'm tired. I don't like this idea that we don't talk about this shit. They do terrible things. We don't care. Anyways. Guys, thank you so much for listening. I'll catch you guys in episode 224 of the Michael Lab Show. Like, comment, subscribe. Do what you guys do best. Thank you so much for listening. I'll catch you guys later. See ya.